Hello friends, you are welcome to Anchor Network, where you get updates of things that you really need to know. I appreciate every one of you who has been part of this channel, who has subscribed, and as many that are still contemplating whether to subscribe or not. I will encourage you to do that because I know you are not going to regret it at the end of the day. Please click the red subscribe button and also the bell icon. The bell icon is very important because if you don't click the bell icon, you will not be notified anytime we publish any news. And also, I have a gift for everyone or as many that are interested on how to build a website. There is a website link in the description section. Once you open it, there's a video that will teach you on how to build a website from beginning to the end. Thank you very much. So let's go straight to the business of the day. Osinbajo to military. Don't just wear uniform. Defend Nigeria with your lives. As 187 new officers were commissioned into Nigeria Air Force on Wednesday, Vice President Professor Yemi.Osinbajo has warned military officers and men that beyond taking pride in their uniform and weapons, they must defend Nigeria with their lives. He said the military career, which is to defend the territorial integrity of the country, is the most civic service and beyond just earning salary and getting a chance to wear a coveted uniform, but putting their lives on the line for the safety and welfare of millions Nigerians. Professor Yemi.Osinbajo stated this while he served as the reviewing officer at the passing out parade of the Direct Short Service Course 28 of 2019, held at the Nigerian Air Force Base in Kaduna. He, however, told the military officers that Nigeria was still grappling with an insurgency in the northeast and the challenges of kidnapping and armed banditry in other parts of the country, adding that in weeks and months ahead, they will be extremely busy fulfilling their responsibilities to the military and the nation. According to the Vice President, as you already know, this profession you have chosen requires absolute discipline, loyalty, and hard work. It is much more than just securing a job or earning a salary, and more than just getting the chance to wear a coveted uniform or wield coveted weapons. This is the ultimate form of civic service, to defend the territorial integrity of your country and to put your life on the line for the safety and welfare of millions of Nigeria countrymen and women. There is no nobler occupation than this one you have chosen. You are passing out at a time when our nation is grappling with an insurgency in the northeast and the challenges of kidnapping and armed banditry in other parts of the country. You will therefore have come to terms with the fact that the days and weeks and months ahead of you will be extremely busy as you fulfill your responsibilities to the military and the nation. While the armed forces have effectively contained the territorial ambitions of the Boko Haram terrorists by substantially degrading their capacity to attack, the wreak and wreak havoc, they remain intent on shedding blood and sowing fear. There is also the threat of the Islamic State of West Africa province in the Lake Chad Island and parts of southern Borno. Also, more often these days, these insurgents are focusing on soft targets, opportunistic attacks on isolated military units, as well as on increasingly sophisticated propaganda aimed at making them out to be more organized and leather than they really are. This ever-increasing reliance on propaganda is a reminder that this is not only a battleground war, it is just as much as information and narrative war. Winning hearts and minds has always been important in military warfare. It is even more so in a century defined by information and communication technologies. As a 21st century military officers, how you project your strength and confidence to your enemies and the world, especially using social and digital media tools, is as important as the sophistication of the conventional arms and ammunition that you wield. But to do effectively also means that you must take the time and trouble to fully understand the nature of the threat that confronts us, the narratives and philosophies that underline those threats. He informed the He informed that the president, in collaboration with state governors, has been reviewing the security architecture of the country, which he said involved not just the armed forces, but in particular the police, who have recently announced their community policing strategy. This initiative involves recruitment and training of policemen in each local government and ensuring that such new policemen remain in their local governments, working with local and traditional authorities to maintain peace and security. As the president has said, security is a 24-hour occupation involving continuous investments in strategy and innovation. We will continue to take all necessary measures to tackle all forms of criminality across the country and to safeguard lives and property of all Nigerians. The Nigerian Air Force will, as part of the armed forces, continue to be at the forefront of our national security interventions. I note in particular the extremely successful digitally accurate bombings of terrorist hideouts. In April, the destruction of Boko Haram mechanic workshop in Borno. In May, the airstrikes on Tobon Haman on the fringe of Lake Chad, inflicting heavy casualties on ISWAP, forces under Air Task Force of Operation Lafia Dole. In June, airstrikes on Sambisa Forest, further eliminating insurgents. It is particularly commendable that you are adopting measures to ensure that the resources available to you are used judiciously in a manner that delivers optimal results and maximum value for money. This nation is great and can only become greater. We are Africa's largest economy by GDP. States of Nigeria have larger economies than many African states. We have become the last frontier for major economic growth. We are the world's largest growers of cassava and yams. We are top 5 in the world in sojourn, millets. We are approaching self-sufficiency in pardon rice production. Our potential in technology and entertainment has been attracting huge attention. First is the market. At 174 million GSM phones, we are top 10 telephone user in the world, and we have the highest percentage of people who use internet on their phones in the world. We are also number 2 in mobile internet banking in the world. 17 million Nigerians are on Facebook. Microsoft has announced that it will establish a $100 million African Development Center in Nigeria. We are already building our own drones, but not only are we building drones, we are also making spare parts of our aircraft. We are also manufacturing armored personnel carriers and all sorts of different military platforms. All of these are things that Nigerians are doing in this country. Just last week, we saw at the Army Day sophisticated minesweepers that are manufactured in this country. In a few short years, this country will be far the greatest military force in Africa and certainly the most developed economy in Africa. All of these have been built on the sacrifices of many in blood and sweat, especially men and women of the armed forces. What will undermine our efforts now and in the future is disunity. All of those who are preaching narratives of divisions along ethnic and religious lines. We must resist all who try to destroy our present gains and in particular our future. The future of our country is bright. All we need to do is to keep focused, not to allow any to preach any division amongst us. If we remain stable and united, everything that we desire for our great country will be ours, he said. He assured that the federal government will continue to give priority attention to the operational requirements and the welfare of the personnel of the Nigeria Armed Forces. The presidential commissioning in the Nigeria Air Force was performed by the Vice President as reviewing officer on behalf of the President, Muhammadu Buhari. Yes, the Vice President has really spoken well. A lot of things that he said, we have achieved even as a country. Though it might be right, maybe we have achieved all those things, but they are just minimal. It's not something that we can really be proud of. It's not something that is really visible. It's not something that everybody can see. It's not everything, anything that everything that people can really think or can feel. It's not things that we can really feel or we can see. And I think most importantly, those things are very, very good. If really we can see them, maybe they are happening, but not the way we expect them to be because we are not there. Those ones are just on the, just maybe they are just at the surface level. But what is important to Nigerians that this government needs to really focus on is the welfare of the people, their standard of living. That should be their number one priority, and protecting lives and properties. When those two things are okay, you see people will go out of their way to do the unimaginable, the unthinkable. People will be able to think beyond board. People will be able to think and do things that, the whole world will, would marvel at. But those things are not there. If you have not eaten, if there's no security around you, believe you me, there's nothing you can do. You cannot do much. Even if you are trying to do some things, you'll be struggling. You'll be afraid, because you'll be afraid to go to some certain places. If you have not fed yourself, if your stomach is so empty, you will not be able to reason. And that's why you see when they talk about children, you need to eat very well before you can really assimilate whatever you are being taught. So that is how it is. All of those things he has mentioned, I know some people will come and debunk it, or they will come and, talk down on it, that they are not really happening. I don't want to go into all of those. If those things that he has made mention, if they are really happening, or if those are the things that we have really achieved according to what he has said, good and fine. But at what scale? And moreover, those ones should be the secondary thing. What is paramount, what's supposed to be important to Nigerians now, is on how to be able to eat, how to be able to feed. Let food be cheap. Food cannot even be cheap, because the farmers that are supposed to be producing those food, they can't even go to farms because of insecurity. So what are we talking about? He has really encouraged the new army officers or the Air Force officers that have been commissioned, that they should not, it's beyond their salary that they are receiving. That is the thing that they are supposed to be preaching to themselves, even as politicians. Because when you compare the salary of all these security agencies compared to what our politicians are receiving, even the vice president, the president, and the senators, those ones say they are on another world, they are on another level. The senators, the kind of salaries that they are collecting is baffling. Even the developed countries, they don't even receive, their politicians don't even receive such an amount of money. Those are the people you are supposed to preach to. Those are the people that you are supposed to tell, the senators, the politicians, those ones that have opportunity to pad budgets, that all the money that we are supposed to use, or that's supposed to be used for Nigerians, is just in the hands of the few. Admonishing those army officers is a good thing, but it goes beyond that, because they are not in control of the economy, or the security, let me say the security of the country, because they need to take order. They need some equipment that they really need to function. There was a day, or sometime I saw online, you see policemen, they talked how they've used a drone to be able to capture some of the kidnappers. If you see the drone, some people were really laughing. Is this the drone that a country, as big as Nigeria will be priding itself on? If you see the drone, you'll be amazed that, like what people used to say, who do Nigeria? Drone that children can use and be, do a manner of things. Even the so-called cinematologists, all these photographers and all these video people, that's what they use. Even when you go to all this Nollywood, they have such drones. Those are the drones that police officers are priding themselves on, that they've achieved something. People were really laughing at them. So what equipment have you really put in place for these guys? Even when you talk of the army, when you talk of the police, what are the equipment on ground that these guys that they can use to combat these bandits and these criminals? Because those criminals and the Boko Haram people, they have sophisticated equipment. But our army, our soldiers, our policemen, name it, they don't have such this thing. That's why when any crime is happening, you will see them, they will just be, they will be reluctant to go, because they will be afraid, because the kind of equipment those bandits and Boko Haram are using, far better than theirs. So they want to protect their lives. You see them, just withdrawing back. So what are the things that you have put in place for them? Even when you talk about their salary, what is their salary scale? What are they even receiving in the first place? So guys, that is just my own opinion. He has told the security people to defend their life, to defend Nigeria with their lives. With what? With nothing. With their bare hands. They need to do the needful, so that those people will be encouraged to do more. So guys, that's where I'm going to stop. I would like you guys, to put down your comments based on what the vice president has told the security people, by putting down your comments in the comment section. Thank you very much for always listening. Bye.